Hi everyone, my name is Evan Erickson and I'm a clarinetist and composer currently studying at the University of Memphis. For Clareidoscope 2024, today I will be giving a lecture presentation on the topic of providing opportunities for under-resourced composers. Starting in 2021, I began hosting an annual Call for Scores opportunity specifically aimed at composers around the world who have no way to get their foot in the door because they lack the resources to get their music performed or recorded. In today's composition landscape, all of the opportunities and competitions that are out there are largely in favor of composers with access to a music degree. When you get to go to music school, you really have time in private lessons to refine your skills as a composer, but you also have ready access to performers and recording equipment to get the best possible representations of your music possible. And you also, most opportunities that exist for composers to apply to require you to be 35 years old or younger, which is largely the demographic of students in music school. But what about the composers around the world who, because of their geographical location, they might not have access to a music school? Or maybe they got into composing later in life and are now ineligible to, because of their age, to apply to most of these opportunities. Maybe the cost of attending a music school or hiring performers or considering a career in this field wasn't something they could pursue. Or maybe even luck or disabilities got in the way of meeting performers and getting your music recorded. Well, starting in 2021, I started hosting this Call for Scores, and I've been able to receive around 400 submissions from composers representing more than 50 countries around the world. These are all composers who have heard 5 or less of their pieces performed in their life. I've been able to select 14 of these composers to give one of, if not the first premieres of their music to, and half of these 14 composers are from non-US countries like Iran, South Africa, Italy, Mexico, and the United Kingdom. When I started this opportunity in 2021, I started by just fundraising $250 from friends and supporters towards the end of high school. And along with chipping in some of my own money, I got a 1-year subscription for a website and hosted my first Call for Scores, specifically asking for clarinet music by composers who had never heard their music performed. And I was able to select 7 composers that I played their pieces for one of the first times. In 2022, I upgraded the opportunity from some funding from the University of Memphis, and I was able to double the amount of money that I could offer as a cash prize to selected composers and received nearly 3 times the amount of submissions. But in 2023, I won 3rd place in a pitch competition on my campus, which allowed me to substantially upgrade what I was able to offer through my Call for Scores. I was able to select 3 composers that I paid $400 each to compose a brand new clarinet and saxophone duo piece. And since then, I've been invited to premiere these pieces at a couple of national conferences. And this was the first year that I was sponsored by a company like the music notation software Finale. And in May, I will be coming out with a professionally recorded album of all of these pieces, which is leading me to this year, where starting in April, I will be releasing my 4th Call for Scores, and I've already been able to fundraise more than the past 3 years combined through being sponsored by Royal Global / Brian Corbin Clarinets, been sponsored by Dorico, Note Performer, received some donations from the Memphis community and businesses in my area, and I have plans to double the amount of composers that I can help in paying $500 each to commission brand new music. And with this, I'll be hiring real professional performers to give the best possible performance of this music possible so that these composers can start building their name and having a great representation of the music that they write. But why do I host this opportunity? I come from a low-income family myself and was very close to having to give up music entirely. When I started off my journey with music, it was the key to finally being able to have friendships and have something that made me feel fulfilled and allowed me to see more of the world than just my small town Dubuque, Iowa area. But towards the end of high school, when I was coming up on graduating and having to think about college degrees and career choices, and it was around the same time as COVID, and I didn't have financial or moral support from my parents to go into debt for a music degree. And I was very afraid of the realities of pursuing a degree in music and how luck-based and difficult it is to do so. And I didn't know if going into debt for a music degree was going to be a choice I wanted to make. And so I ended up quitting music for roughly a year to kind of soul search. And I thought the whole time I was going to have to choose something not related to music to pursue for the rest of my life and go to college for. But it wasn't until the University of Memphis offered me a performance scholarship to attend a music school out of state affordably that completely changed the trajectory of my life and opened my eyes to the amazing privileges I get to have in being a practicing performer every single day. So I take it on myself to take every single opportunity I can to grow and invest in myself and be a better person each and every day, and also give back to the world through my privileges. And I just want to talk on this idea of privilege a little bit. There are so many musicians around the world who get put in similar crossroads of having to choose between going down a music path or having to put music on the back burner or give it up entirely. And there's a lot of composers who have to give it up. But those of us who get to be practicing musicians in music school or professional performers or get to play our instruments at all, we get to play music every single day. And I think sometimes this gets taken for granted in the constant pursuit of being the best we can on our instruments or preparing for that jury or recital or professional audition coming up, when we have a real ability to give back to the world and help people that are in positions that, they don't have the same privileges of getting to be a practicing musician as us. To give a bit of background on who these under-resourced composers are that my opportunity is reaching, I've chosen the stories of 3 of the past composers I've selected through my call for scores. Thomas Ashcombe is a 30-year-old composer from the United States who works at Target, and he's never received a music education in his life. But he ended up composing my favorite clarinet piece that I've ever played. And as part of the 2021 call for scores, I gave Thomas his first ever music composition premiere. James Gerard is a 70-year-old composer from the United Kingdom who had a full career in IT and is now retired. Over the past couple of years, he's decided to get into music composition and is currently pursuing a master's in the United Kingdom. But because of his age, he's ineligible to apply to a lot of composition opportunities. So, as part of the 2021 call for scores, I also gave James one of his first ever music composition premieres. Anemi is a 39-year-old composer from South Africa, and last year I was able to select her to commission a brand new clarinet and saxophone duo piece. She previously had a career in the industrial engineering and supply chain industry field. She got her undergraduate degree in this field and had a career for roughly a decade, but she experienced a major health crisis that pushed her out of this field entirely. She decided to fall back on her childhood passion of being a viola player and decided to pick up music composition. Every single one of the 400 composers that submitted to my opportunity has a story like these 3 composers that doesn't fit the normal mold of getting to go to a music school or having all of the resources to refine yourself as a composer and get the best representations of your music that's not readily available for them. So how do I find these under-resourced composers? Well, it's actually extremely easy. It's as simple as going on a Facebook group like Performers for Composers, Composers for Performers, which has roughly 43,000 musician members on it looking to collaborate with new music. There's also the normal composition opportunity websites, but one of my favorite places to find these composers is youngcomposers.com, where every day you see dozens of budding new composers with unique voices to express showing up who have only heard their music played by computer MIDI. And once you find these composers, all you have to do to start a collaboration with them is just ask. There are countless composers who would jump at any opportunity to write you a brand new piece just to get it played. When I started my call for scores in 2021, I didn't have it built to the same level, to the same standards of fairness and accessibility that I've wanted to build it into today. But I started off just wanting to play solo clarinet music by composers who had never heard their music performed. And by having my call for scores exist and hosting this opportunity, in 2021, 21 brand new clarinet pieces were written and submitted just to my opportunity, just to have the chance at getting it played. Now that I've moved forward with my opportunity and collaborated with the American Composers Forum, I do want my opportunity to be as accessible as possible, and I've chosen to include the financial backing behind my project. I've moved into, instead of paying composers $50 or $100 to as a prize for their time, I want to compensate the composer's time in spending their time writing a brand new piece, and don't want their time to go uncompensated. So I've moved into the commission platform where I request 2 pieces from composers that best represents their work, and a short essay on why being selected for my opportunity would be important to them. And this has allowed me to, pay for the composer's time in writing a brand new work. But you should offer what you have available. So many composers at such an early stage in their career are completely understanding that not everyone has $500 plus commission budgets just to go towards every composer they want to work with. All you have to do is just find someone and ask to start a collaboration, and they'd be flattered to write you a new piece. Even if you just have a performance, or better yet, a recording that you can offer them, composers would love to work with you. And I think it's so important to invest into these under-resourced early career composers, because they are the future of music. The more accessible music is as a whole, and more opportunities we provide and open up for the world, the more the music world will continue to grow and innovate and lead to composers who will be the next Stravinsky or Mozart or John Cage that impacts the music world and keeps moving our art form up. And every time we host an opportunity for a composer to learn and grow, it builds them closer to their 10,000 hours of getting to be someone who understands composing and wants to, do it with their life. When so many opportunities and contests are riddled with $35 fees just to blindly submit your music and then not be chosen over a student studying at Juilliard with a top composition professor in the world, it makes it discouraging, and a lot of people quit, and it's hard to compete. Just by my call for scores existing, so many people have emailed me saying that they had quit composing because they felt it was unfair and impossible to compete or ever get their music performed or heard. But because my opportunity exists, they end up coming back to write a brand new piece just to submit to me. This music may be less refined than some of the competition-winning pieces out there, but it's still so worth playing and so important to play this music, because it's going to be you who helps these composers grow and learn. It's going to be your premiere of their music, your interpretation, and your exposure that helps build the career of these composers. And most importantly, this music is just fun. You can still grow and find enjoyment in what you're playing, even if it's not an award-winning piece of the standard repertoire. So I want to challenge you guys to start performing at least one piece by a completely unknown composer that you find on each recital you give moving forward. It's immoral, in my opinion, to push out and disregard and not provide opportunities for composers just because of the resources they have available, especially when it's so easy to connect with these composers. Without your help, thousands of composers around the world may never get to experience the joy of hearing their music played live, or having the collaboration between a performer and a composer that allows them to grow into the next version of themselves as a composer and potentially be someone who impacts our music world. I still don't have the resources myself to help every single one of these composers, and that's why I've taken on the challenge of creating this lecture and going out to different communities and advocating for this crowd of composers. You can still perform your normal repertoire, but I think you'll be surprised by just how mature and quality the pieces by these composers is, and how well it'll fit into your whatever recital you're giving. I've put together this QR code link, which is a research page that has links to the different places on where to find these composers that I mentioned previously. I've included some sample messages on how to maybe start going about a collaboration and starting a relationship with one of these composers that you find. I've included some past selections of music I've selected from my call for scores and what it sounds like unperformed versus performed. I've included some ideas on funding or how to build these pieces into your performance schedule. And I've also included a feedback form. I would love to hear your feedback or takeaways, or just get in contact with me to talk about how I could give this presentation better. And I would love to get in contact with you, and you can go to my website at any time, Evan Erickson Music, and reach out to me, or the feedback form on this QR code. It really means a lot to have had an opportunity to be able to advocate for this community of composers that I care so much about. And with your help, one baby step at a time, I hope to make new music more accessible and collaborative and approachable for musicians all over the world. It's my hope to eventually build this into a network someday where I can connect composers and performers together so there's no longer a wall in front of those in less privileged situations. My name is Evan Erickson, and I am a clarinetist and composer who aims to give back to the world through my privileges. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samuel Shea. I am currently a graduate student studying clarinet performance at the University of Michigan. Today, I am here to share with you all this organization, East Zodiac, that I started with a couple of my colleagues. Thank you to the ICA for giving us the opportunity to share this wonderful organization with all of you guys. So East Zodiac started out as an idea that I had when I was looking for music to play for my graduate auditions. So lots of school, when I was looking for to apply, they often ask for music that's by underrepresented composer, and some school that even asks specifically music that represented my background. So I did a little bit of research and trying to find pieces that were written by Asian composer. I am myself Taiwanese, but there weren't that many music out there that was written for the clarinet by Asian composer. There were definitely some out there, but there weren't as many as I was able to find. So this idea came up as, oh, it would be really nice to commission Asian composer to write music for the clarinet. So I pitched this idea to a couple of my colleagues, and thus for the organization East Zodiac was formed. So the idea for East Zodiac is to have the goal of to raise awareness and to serve as the platform that can facilitate the creation of new works and spotlight composers from the Asian American Pacific Islander community. Um, and what makes us a little bit make us innovative and makes us stand out from the some of the or other commission organization out there is we're focusing on another other than just Asian composer, we're adding another layer of Asian immigrant composer. I grew up in Taiwan myself and studied a little bit of traditional Chinese music when I was in Taiwan, and I moved to the States when I was in middle school. And I realized when I moved to the States, the things that I was familiar with when I was in Taiwan wasn't as familiar here with people. And with my Western background training through the States, I think it would be a very great idea and a good collaboration to use this idea of immigrant composer to have them have the background to have that some sort of soundscape in their head as they're writing the pieces. So that's what another layer that we like to add on our organization. Um, and the concept that the project we're currently focusing on right now is the 12-year Chinese zodiac sign. So what it is we're using a familiar concept of the 12 Chinese zodiac sign as an inspiration to commission 12 different Asian composers to write music to add to the clarinet repertoire. So each year, we will commission a composer to reflect on the Chinese zodiac sign. So last year was our first year, it was Year of the Rabbit, and this year is for the Year of the Dragon. And with that, we're hoping, and with that, by commissioning it, we're also putting on a premiere concert each year to showcase the corresponding pieces. So the community we're trying to serve and to highlight first and foremost, to let people learn more about it is first for anybody that wishes to learn about Eastern music and want to be better understand them, as well as musician and composer for anyone who wishes to play music by Asian composer, as well as to learn more about this type of music, and the clarinet community to have more repertoire added to there so that people can, when they're looking for music to play, they will have a place and a platform to be able to search for it, as well as second generation of Asian American, and as well as immigrant Asian, as I mentioned earlier. So giving you a little background about what we were able to accomplish in our first year. The first year was the Year of the Rabbit 2023. In the beginning, it was very much, so me and my three other colleagues, we actually live in four different cities. So we have never really met in person. So till this day, we all have just done it, everything by virtually. So I really give kudos to my team. They're all working really hard to make this thing possible. We were able to commission a piece written by Christopher Wynn and to have premiere concert at two different universities. So the piece for Yoda Rabbit was written for E flat, clarinet, and piano. We're through the generosity of our donors and sponsorship, we were able to raise over $600 to cover the cost for commissioning fees and as well as putting up the concert and etc. And we have tried actively building our social media through, we have a working website as well as a LinkedIn tree with all of our information and Instagram page and Facebook. So below, I am going to show a quick example of excerpt from the first piece, You're the Rabbit. So that was a little example of last year's piece that was written for Year of the Rabbit. We encouraged the composer to channel, uh, to use familiar Eastern kind of soundscape to write the music, and we didn't really give composer limitations or instrumentation. All we asked them is to write a piece that's clarinet focused. So for the first year was very much about a learning year for us to how to run an organization and how to get things started. And the second year, right now, Year of the Dragon, we're in the midst of it, and we really want to focus on spreading the word of the organization and being in collaboration with as many people as we can. So what we have done so far is we did a call for composer during the summertime. We put it out there on to let people submit their application for us to select a composer, and we were fortunate to select Daishan Ai as our composer for the Year of the Dragon. She's currently a DMA student at the Indiana University. And the piece that's being written for Year of the Dragon is a duet for B flat clarinet and E flat alto saxophone this year. And also, one thing that was very fortunate for us is we were able to be part of the Michigan Accelerator program. So Michigan has a very prominent and very renowned entrepreneur office, and through that office, they have programs to sponsor and to help student organization. So through this program, we were able to get some fundings, and financially as well as mentorship with them to help us guide us to learn about how to run an organization and to really help us achieve our goal. We also been partnering a lot with student organization on campus and off campus to spread the words and do mini concert series around Chinese New Year. We have partnered with Asian American, the Taiwanese Association, as well as the Chinese Association, and as well as the Michigan Chamber Series to put on concerts to spread the word. What we are planning on doing that's coming up later in the semester as we go on is we're still doing the premiere concert this year. It will be on April 7th at the University of Michigan. And this concert will feature the piece for this year, Year of the Dragon, as well as other composition that is by Asian composer. This whole concert is going to be pieces by Asian composer. And through the accelerator program, we were able to be partner and to be led and mentorship by the Midnight Oil Collective, which they're also taking us to a convention, to a summit during the summer at Yale University, so we can be able to share more and learn more information about how to run an arts organization, as well as letting people learn more about East Zodiac. One of the things that was very prominent for us and that we learned through this program is to the idea of really to sustain our organization. So a couple ways that we have come up this year is to create a donation tier list to really engage with our audience. And so with the different amount of money you donate, you can receive different type of perks, from a Chinese traditional red envelope to a virtual ticket to our premiere concert that's coming up, and even a movement dedication to you. So if you're interested and feel so inclined, you can find more information on our social media and our website about that. And as well as also doing this year, something new that we're doing with this piece, Rear the Dragon, is to do a consortium. So all clarinetists and saxophonists that feel that they want to join in the fund for this year, they will have, with just a price of $25, they will have the exclusivity to and the performance rights for a period of time for this piece. I am currently working on the piece, and I can tell you it's going to be really great and it's going to be amazing. Lastly, I want to just mention to the things about our organization is that we're still a very young organization, and we're able to accomplish a lot of things in our first year and two as well. But there's still a lot of things for us to learn and for us to spread our word. So again, thanks to ICA for us to give us this opportunity. And at the end of the day, we are hoping to use eZodiac, this organization, as a platform and to grow beyond just the Zodiac project, but to really serve to let people have a place they can come to find information about Asian composer, Asian music, and to really have to be a resources for future musicians of all kinds. If you want to find more about us and to want to be updated with our information, please join our email list. You can find it on our website on the contact page, as well as follow us on Instagram or on Facebook. You can just search our name, eZodiac Music, and we will pop up for any additional information in terms of donation, consortium, and our upcoming concert. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And again, thank you for ICA for giving us this opportunity.